sit down and relax. Grab yourself a cuppa. I'm going to be talking about Eastwood. I was there 3 years and it's kind of like a bittersweet experience, and some of the people I met there were absolutely fantastic, and Eastwood was a bit of a, I don't know. Anyway, I'll tell you some stories. The first time I met Eastwood was at the Beresford House in Bangor, overlooking the marina. A really nice guest house where I ended up staying. And I can remember sat this side, Eastwood was sat over there, and he had a golfer called Tony who was sat there. And the marina was out there, and I was just looking out of the window. And he says, "How do you get in the top 10? Me being naive, I says, "You box somebody in the top 10. He says, "No, I make a phone call." "Well, don't do that for me." That's the voice that came straight out of my head. I said, "I don't want that. I want to earn the right to fight for a title." And then he says, "Barry McGuigan would never been a world title without him." And I went, "Explain, how?" And he says he could have got a Zuma Nelson a year before for $100,000, but he paid Pedroza $1 million to fight him because the time was right. And I just said, "Don't do that for me. I want to earn the right, and I want to be there on my own merits." So we was having a chat. He knew my situation, and I agreed a contract with him. When I was over there, we were going to give me 250 quid a week, and then purses. So he started, and I boxed a guy called John Williams in London, and it was November 1990. And he said to me that I won't stop him. We were an heavyweight. He said, "I won't stop him," he said, "because he just wants to see my boxing skills. You know, he knows I can fight, so I won't stop him." And they decided to put me on last, and I wanted to get back to Leeds, so I wanted to know what time the last train was. And he said, "Forget about the last train, you're not going to get it. You know what I mean, this kid's a tough kid." So I'm in the ring, first round, he comes out and he throws this jab. And this jab is one of the slowest jabs I've ever come across, and I thought the man's just messing about. He throws another one, and as it's like left his shoulder, I've hit him with about 8 punches and put him on the floor. And I've gone back to the corner and I thought, now I'm in for a fight. He's going to get up and come out and do something. He got up, he wasn't hurt, he was just stunned. And then he threw exactly the same kind of jab again. I just opened up, he went down again, referee stopped it, got out of the ring, jumped in the taxi, train station. I got my train home. And I don't know what Eastwood thought about that, but that was it. Then he got me one in 91, February 91, I boxed on their bill, Melvin Ricks. I think it lasted a round. And that was on the 12th of February. And then I think I've gone over to Ireland to see him for about some payment or something. And as I'm going back to the airport, I get his golfer gets a phone call, "Can you bring Crawford back to the office?" So I've gone back to the office, and he says, "I've got you a European title fight." I think this was on the Saturday, and the fight was on the Friday in Germany. So I had about 6 days notice for it. And he can get me $6 for the fight. Do I want it? Now, the voice in my head just went, "How good are you? Let's find out." The kid was a guy called Graziano Rodriguini. He was an unbeaten super middleweight world champion. And I was boxing him in Dusseldorf in his backyard at 6 days notice. My first 12 rounder. And I thought, yeah, how could I? He says, yeah, I'll take it. But I need to go back and get my training gear. So he says, don't worry about it, we'll get that all sent over. So I went into training. Now you got to remember, on the 12th of February, I just had a fight, 1 rounder. So I'm not training. I've had time off. I've been now a week later, because I'm fighting on the 28th, so 6 days, so it's 22nd. So for 10 days I haven't done anything. Then I started working, went over to Germany. The first time I've ever been picked up at the airport by a promoter. And I can remember he was driving back and he's saying about, he's so happy that I've took the show. He'd have had to cancel the show if I never took this fight. And now the German supporters, they understand boxing. And they'll understand if I put up a good show. And I just says, I'm here to make up the numbers, mate. I'm here to win. And it must have been the way I said it, because he never said another word going back to the venue. So this place, man, 12,500 screaming. I don't even know what to call them, because walking into the ring, it was one of the, you could cut the atmosphere with a knife. They were calling me farts, they were calling me this, we kill you nigga, we kill you. Screaming and shouting all this shit, man. And I'm like, in this bubble of my own, and every time they're screaming this negative, I'm just all like buzzing. And the voice in my head's going, they don't know you. They ain't got a clue. You're fighting their champion. You know what I mean? The best they've got, you're fighting them. They'll see you. And I walked to the ring, and when I got to the ring, I must have been about 12 feet tall, man. I just felt all that negativity just buzzed me. I was woo, woo, woo. And I remember in the 3rd round, I broke my hand, and it hurt, man. And I just had this voice in my head, get through the next second, just get through the next second. We can do this, we can get through the next second. And that's all I had to do, was get through the next second. Next thing I know, the referee's coming over, saying we're coming out for the 12th and final round. Wow. It's on YouTube somewhere, so watch it. And I lose on a split decision. But after the bell rings for the last round, I go back to the corner and I said to Bernard, I said, take my glove off, Bernard. I said, I broke my hand. He says, when did you break it? I said, around 3. He says, why didn't you tell me? I said, you pulled me out. He said, no, we'd have worked around it. He said, I thought you just didn't like me, that's why you stopped talking to me. And I just thought, no. You know what I mean, what's the point? I don't want pulling out the fight. My hand's broken, there's nothing I can do about it. All I can do is continue. But because he was a fighter himself and a trainer, he knew that we'd go through this pain, but there's ways of doing and tricks of doing it. So it was like, noted, next time my hand happens, I'll speak to the corner. Good trainers, bad trainers, you see. Trainers who know, trainers who don't know. Not good or bad. Trainers who know and trainers who don't know. And I remember I went to a celebration party, and at a celebration party I met some international bankers, and they wanted to sponsor me. And Barney Eastwood just got in there. I don't know what deal he did with them, but he must have done a deal with them. But I never got anything. I didn't get a thing. And yeah, that was kind of like a little bit of my first 3 fights with him. So in February, 20th of February, from when minute, let me start again. From November 1990, first fight to him, to 28th of February 91, I'd had a title fight, a European title fight, which he got me at 6 days notice, and he paid me $6 grand. All he paid me was £6 for it. And I remember going to get paid. Oh, no. I gotta tell you something, man, about that. The German crowd. After about round 4, round 5, the one thing I like, right, they were all against me round 1. Round 2 we were quiet. Round 3 there was a little bit of noise. Round 4, round 5, I could hear more people shouting for me. I could actually hear people shouting for me. And then round 9, round 10, more people shouting for me. And when they fight and they give out the decision, the crowd booed. And when I'm going out of the ring, I'm getting hooked. It was like, handshake and sorry you won that fight. And I'm like, my head can't get round. Half an hour ago, you wanted to kill me. And now you want to give me a kiss, you want to hug me, what the hell's going on here? And I remember being in the changing room, and there's guys coming in talking to me. And this guy asked me a question. And he says, what do I feel like boxing in front, and what do I think of the decision? And I just says to him, I says, did you enjoy the fight? He says, yeah, it was one of the best fights I've seen. I said, well, that's all that matters, isn't it? You'll come and see me again. And he got up and walked off. And then this other guy came and said, I am so sorry. He said, he's from the gutter press. He says, my countryman robbed you, and you give me 1,000 Deutschmarks. I haven't got a clue what 1,000 Deutschmarks is. Oh, thank you very much. Put it in my pocket. And when I've come back to England, I've gone into the change, and I've given them the 1,000 Deutschmarks. And the woman behind the counter says, £375, all right. I went, yeah. Of course it is, man. That was just, and I went, yeah, that was a shock, man. I went next door and I bought a chain, a Byzantine gold chain that I used to wear, see back in the old days. I used to have this gold chain on with a Magen David, the Star of David on it. Well, the chain was from the guy in Germany, just to remind me of people, how they can change if you just be yourself. People are like what they see or they don't, I don't know. But I've always wanted to win fights, and I think that's... So I'm at this meeting with Eastwood and Tony the Golfer. We sat there talking, and Jean comes up, and she's the landlady of the hotel that the boxers stay in. And I told her I don't like potatoes, can't stand potatoes, or I couldn't back then. I just liked them chipped, deep fried. They're stuck between 2 slices of bread and butter and a lot of tomato sauce. That's how I like my potatoes. And that's not kind of like recommended for a boxing diet. Anyway, my diet back then was shit. But she said, well, what do you eat? I said, I eat rice and I eat pasta. Oh, I'll have to look into that. So my dinners were getting sorted anyway. So I've come back to England and I've decided to go back over there. Signed with him. And like I said, the first week I'm down at the gym, and this gym's hot, man. Hot gym. I loved it. It was really, really warm, by 80, 90 degrees. And the people in the gym down there, there was like, off the top of my head, it's going to be difficult. But Bernardo Checker was the trainer, the coach, and John Breen was the coach and trainer. Then you had Oscar Checker, you had Victor Cordova, who went on to be the super middleweight world champion. You had Oscar Checker and Bernardo Checker. Oscar was an up and coming. You had Crisanto Espana. You had Ray Close. I'm sure Sam Story was there. And Noel McGee. You had Paul Hopkinson, the Weighin brothers, Richie and I forgot his name. Dave Boy McCauley, Paul Hopkinson. Who else was down there? And there was a few others, and then a little bit later on, Steve Collins came. I met the Black Mamba. So it's like I said back then, it was like going from nursery school to university. I thought I trained hard until I went there, and I watched. There's a different level of training that champions or wannabe champions go to. And I remember coming down, I was doing my groundwork with John, and he says to me, "Did I go running?" I went, "No." He went, "Why not?" I said, "It was raining." He went, "Why, you think you're going to fucking melt?" And I just cracked out laughing. And that was kind of like it. You're a professional, you're an athlete, weather shouldn't get in the way, you should do your work. But I like the fact how the gym was really, really warm, because it seemed like he was doing more work. You know, it was hard to breathe, there was less oxygen in there. But it was great because on fight night, we were brilliant. Oh yeah, and Big Joe Weighin, he came down as well. Funny guy. But I remember sparring with Victor Cordova, and I caught him with a beautiful shot. I didn't mean to, but it hit him hard. And then his head seemed to switch, and that was one of the easiest sparring sessions I had. So every time I wanted an easy sparring session with Victor Cordova, I just hit him hard and then wait for him. Because when he was relaxed, he was dangerous. And I remember him boxing Fabrice Tiozzo in France, and the week coming up to it, the man was he just didn't care. He was happy. And he says, why are you not happy? I'm going to be a world champion soon. And he went on and fulfilled it. And then he says to me after the fight, he says, "Crawford, I can't spar with you no more, you're too expensive." I says, "What do you mean?" Eastwood was charging him £100 a day for me to spar with him. £100 a day for me to spar with him. That was effed up. And like I say, when greed takes hold of somebody, they lose everything. Because he had a great stable, he had great trainers, he had great fighters, and he ripped them off. And the guy was a multi-millionaire, but yet he still had to rip people off. That's why he got off on. And the boxers left. It's not like I'm jumping ahead, because my next fight with Eastwood was for the British title against Roy Skeldon. And that was kind of like, I was #1 challenger, but they were trying to put somebody else before me. And Eastwood basically told him they were going to sue the board if they didn't honour it. And I got made the title, and it was mine. I won it. It was the only thing I wanted to get when I started boxing was a British title, a Lonsdale belt outright. Once I got the Lonsdale belt outright, then it was just basically, let's see how far I can go. But I got the Lonsdale belt. The next fight was Jimmy Peters, and that was special on lots of different. I was just kind of like floating. A week before that, man, I knew exactly what Victor felt like. You know, it's like I was just floating on air. I was fit, everything seemed to be in slow motion, and I was at normal speed. And I remember on the morning of the fight, I got my bags packed them at the Beresford house in Bangor. And the taxis come for us, and we're going a different way to the airport. We go to a private airfield. We get there, we go to this hangar and we push this plane out, and it's about a 6-seater propeller. And we push it out. Well, I've always wanted to be a pilot. So Bernardo is in the back. You got John the Gopher, no, Tony the Gopher and Eastwood. Then you got the pilot and me. And I'm the co-pilot of this plane, and the pilot does all his checklists, and then we take off and we're flying. Then the pilot starts telling us a story about just after the Second World War. He was stationed in Cyprus, and he was just flying some exercises around the island, and he hit a flock of birds, and the engine stalled and he had to eject. Now Bernardo at the back pipes up, "Did you survive?" Now that's just killed me. I am just crying, man. I got the fits of the giggles. I just couldn't stop laughing all the way there. And then we come into land at Southampton Airport, and it's foggy. And all I can remember is the plane coming diving like this and then just pulling out and landing. And I thought that was brilliant. And we was told that was the first plane to land there that day. And as we walked into this little office, and the guy says to me, "You come in business or pleasure?" I said, "Pleasure." And Eastwood went, "No, it's business." So the guy says, "What business is it?" He said, "It's boxing tonight." I went, "Oh, who's the boxing?" I went, "Jimmy Peters." He says, "Oh, that's my best mate's son." I said, "Well, I'm going to have to beat him up, mate." And he says, "You're confident?" I said, "No, I'm just truthful." And I remember getting to the hotel, and we was walking from the hotel to the Weighin, and I was eating a sandwich going to the Weighin. And I got to the Weighin at 1:15. The Weighin back then was between 12 and 1. And you had an hour to make weight. Don't know what it is now. And I got there at 1:45, and as I'm walking in, Jimmy Peters there, "Thanks for coming, Crawford." I said, "Thank me after the fight." Just walked on, got on the scales. I think I weighed 12.5 something. Then I went back to the hotel, and now the room, they put me on the second floor above a gym, and in the gym there was running a class, and outside of the lift and the elevator kept going up and down, and I was just smiling, I was just laughing in bed. And every time I thought about Bernardo Checker saying, "Did you survive?" it just creased me up. And then I've gone to the venue, got all ready, and I can remember being upstairs, walking up and down, just getting into my zone. And this guy comes and just says to me, says, "When he's hurt, he shows it." Alright, when he's hurt, he shows it. Continued walking. This other guy's voice says, he's got a big right hand, but he telegraphs it. A big right hand telegraphs it. Okay, show him when he's there. So I get in the ring, do all the whatever it is, introductions. When he gets, the crowd go wild. When they call my name, I get booed. I'm not bothered, I've been here before, mate. Then the fight starts, and I see him pull back his right hand, and as he pulls back his right hand, I hit him with this jab. Boom, his head goes back, and as it comes back, his eyes are gone. So we'll have him again. And I just didn't stop hitting him until the ref jumped in. And it's somewhere, it's on YouTube, got a clip of it, put it on. 55 seconds it lasted. And on paper, it were a great fight. The kid was 18-1. And the one fight he lost, he avenged, so he was unbeaten. And he was fighting for a title, so he was going to be really fit. And I destroyed him in 55 seconds. You know? And I can't remember what I got for that, but I've got some of my later ones, maybe £5 or something. And then I boxed Glass Campbell. The only fight that I've ever had a return on. And me and Eastwood, I wasn't happy with Eastwood at all. And I asked him if I lost the fight, would I get my contract back? And he just says, we'll discuss that afterwards. And the fight I was full of cold, I wasn't bothered. I didn't give a flying frig when I was in that ring. And I've come back to the corner, and John Breen says to me, come on Crawford, do us all a favour. No, I've gone back to the corner and I went, am I winning? He went, I don't think anybody gives a fuck anymore, Crawford. He says, you know what I mean, it's that shit fight, let's get off and let's get him out there and go have a drink. He said, Eastwood's not going to give you back your contract. So in that round I caught him, and then the next round I finished it. But I just wasn't happy at all there anymore. And like I said, the trainers were brilliant. It was just Eastwood and his gopher, snakes and rats. But the trainers and the fighters, some great stories. I remember one day getting up and going for a run, and I was running down the coast, and it's like the inlet that goes into Belfast, and it was misty. And I've run around to a point where you can't see any houses, no matter which way you look, there's no houses, it's just like moorland and this inlet. And in the mist, there's a massive pirate ship. I'm looking at it, this is like 6 o'clock in the morning, it's just getting bright and there's mist and it's like, there's a pirate ship there. I'm thinking, what the frig's got not going on here, man? I couldn't, and I'm running and I'm just watching this, it's like a ghost ship, just sailing down, and I'm like, it kind of like messed with me head completely. And then when I got back, I put on the news, and it said the tall ship race was coming into Belfast. That was brilliant, man. I just sat on my bed looking out the window watching these tall ships coming in. What a fantastic experience. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of some stories. So that'll be part 1. And like I say, with Eastwood, got 6 grand for the Graziano Roggini fighting, taking it at 6 days notice. And when I went over to pick up my money, Tony the Gopher met me at the airport. I was on the plane there and straight plane back. And he gave me the money, then he gave me another 2 grand, and he says that Barney was very disappointed with the decision, and you know what I mean, he feels for you, and here's a little bonus. I just thought to myself, you think I'm fucking stupid, you man. You know what I mean? I saved the show, televised, and you got 8 grand. I just thought, you think I'm an idiot? You think you're gonna rip me off? No. Time I'm getting paid now. So, like I said, gone through that, had a few fights. And I remember the Jimmy Peters fight. I got my money, I think I got 19 grand and I ended up with about 7 or 8 or something. And on it, there was £2.50 deductions for a taxi that I wasn't even in. This guy is a multi-millionaire and he'd charged me £2.50 for a taxi that I wasn't even in. I just thought, this guy, and it was like, you say, why are you wanting to box your out when the man's just stealing from you? You know, it's taking what you've earned. No, you've got, nah, not that. How can I put what I do? Managers and fucking bastards. I'm trying to explain it in a way. It's like subcontracting. You get a price for a job, and then you pay some labourers to come and do the job, and you give them half of what you're getting. But then you're taking 25% off them because you found them the work. Ah, that's wrong. Anyway, I'm going to leave that for today, and I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. This is part one of the Eastwoods. I wrote some things down last time, but I'll think about them because Maid went off on one because I had to do something. Anyway, like I said, until next time, I hope you enjoyed it. If you have, leave a comment and we'll see where we go. Bye!